We're here at Aeromotive. Going to start trying to do some shop tours. Everybody gets to see the outside of the front door. Some people get to see the inside of the front door, but we're going to go a little further into some of these businesses if we can, if they'll let us. And I'm going to start with one that's close to home. It's Aeromotive Incorporated here in Lenexa, Kansas. Here with Jeff Stacy. He's the Executive Vice President, also a really good friend of mine, and he's going to give us a little tour of the place, and hopefully everybody gets some eye candy.
So this is obviously the boring part of the business. This is all the offices, so let's head back to the cool part.
I've run Aeromotive on all my stuff for the last few years. Well, actually, Steve, that used to own the company, brought some stuff clear down to the racetrack back when Drag Week started in '05. So ran their stuff forever and ever.
So this is our assembly area. We employ about 12 people in the assembly area. We assemble everything here. Like Larry mentioned, Steve Matusik was the founder and owner of Aeromotive, and he was an engineer, so we're a very engineer-driven company. I say that as we have prints for all of our products, so the employees basically will pull a print out of the book, and this particular print is just showing how to box a mechanical pump. But we have basically a bill of material in the print showing all the componentry, how many go in. This serves a couple of purposes. One, it allows the person assembling the product to be able to assemble it fairly fast. We get new people off the street when we hire new people. They can usually be up to speed, within a couple weeks. It also allows us to track our costs all the way down to the shipping label, to the box, to the insert that the product comes in. This particular test stand right here is where we test our mechanical pumps. We build mechanical pumps that range in size from 5 gallons a minute up to 32 gallons a minute. You'll see them on cars like Larry's. You'll see them on NHRA Pro Mods. Our sister company, Waterman Racing, builds a lot of mechanical pumps for NHRA alcohol dragsters, Top Fuel dragsters, Nostalgia Top Fuel dragsters. They build stuff all the way up to 116 gallons a minute. Our stuff's much smaller than that. Everything we build gets tested before it leaves as far as fuel pumps. This test stand, we test our small carbureted T-style fuel pumps. The technician has a report up here that basically tells him all the specs that he's looking for. We check flow at pressure, amp draw, and we test everything that's electric at 13.5 volts, simulating an alternator on the car. This is a work area where we build a little bit of everything. This is the body from that small pump that was just over on that test stand. It's a sliding vane style pumping mechanism. It'll support up to 850, 900 horsepower in a carbureted application. We sell a lot of these for the street market. You'll see that all of our product is not only barcoded, but we also have the part number. That allows the people that are assembling the product the ability to come to the shelf, find the part, take the part. If they're building 20 of a regulator, take those 20 parts of each component back with them and then assemble the product. All of our stuff is machined in the United States. We try and source as much stuff from the United States as we can. Electric motors are a little difficult to source here in the United States just because of the cost. So we do import a few things. The recent economic mess and problems we've had at the port really hasn't had a huge effect on us. COVID has been very good to us. I hate to say, our business is up tremendously. I think with everybody sitting at home for 3 months and then getting free money from the government, a lot of guys drug old projects out and decided that they wanted to finish that project. So it has definitely had a huge impact on our business, and we're very grateful. All of our product comes in from machine shops, from anodizers, from laser engravers, and then we put it on the shelf. We have more testing fixtures. This particular test stand is where we'll test all of our inline pumps. So like our A1000 or our 5 gallon a minute brushless pump or our 10 gallon a minute brushless pump. Again, we have basic information up there that tells the technician what specifications he's looking for while he's testing the pump.
I still got it like this. Still have all the proper utensils hanging here for
Yes, you never know when unruly customers might come in and you need to whack them with that rubber mallet. These are caps for our brushless variable speed pumps. We've just finished potting them. There's a circuit board inside there that controls basically the flow of the pump. We build in the brushless series from our A1000 all the way up to our 10 gallon a minute pump. The cool thing about a lot of our brushless stuff is with the variable speed you can run a 10 gallon a minute electric pump on the street, and we basically reduce the flow down to about 20% of its max flow using a 0 to 5 volt input, so you could use like a TPS. So basically as you push on the gas pedal it speeds the pump up. When you let off the gas pedal it slows the pump down. What this does is it keeps you from recirculating the fuel really fast and getting it hot. We've all had those days in the middle of summer where we take our hot rod out and 20-30 minutes into your drive all of a sudden it seems like your pump's grinding up rocks and not pumping any liquid, and what has happened is we boiled all the fuel in the gas tank and there isn't any liquid for the pump to be able to pump. So our brushless stuff doesn't introduce as much heat into the fuel as a brush style pump because we don't have brushes to cool inside the pump. You can see we build some sub-assemblies. We'll go ahead and put the terminals in to an outlet cap for our brushless pump. This is probably what amazes me the most. That is the electric motor out of a 10 gallon a minute pump. So you can see it's very small in stature. An A1000 brushed motor is about the size of this. So something that'll only pump 2.5 gallons a minute is this size, where our new technology, something that can move 10 gallons a minute, is this size. We sell quite a bit of plumbing. We buy all of our plumbing on reels, pull it off, cut it, ship it to the customers. We're really not a plumbing company, but the philosophy of the company has always been to solve people's problems. So if we don't have fittings and hose, we're really not solving people's problems. We don't want to sell you a pump and hand it to you and say good luck. We want to sell you a solution. So we provide the pump, the proper filter, regulators, lines. People don't understand how important the right size inlet line and outlet line is in a fuel system. You have too small of an inlet line, you restrict the inlet, it tears our pumps up. You have too small of a line going out, you build artificial pressure, makes the pump work much harder, introduces way more heat into the fuel than it should.
Yeah, the same goes for micron size as far as inlet and outlet filters also. That a lot of people get confused on some of that. As far as the inlet side always needs to be 100 micron, needs to be big so you don't introduce any of that vacuum to it basically. So they supply all of that also.
And what people don't usually realize is the dirtiest your fuel system is going to be is when it's brand new. Gasoline's a great solvent. So you buy a new gas tank or build a new fuel cell or buy a new fuel cell, you run gasoline through it, it's a great solvent. So all the dust that's been in that fuel cell or all the welding slag that maybe the manufacturer didn't get out has been in that fuel cell, and it'll plug an inlet filter up fairly fast. It's 2 or 3 times a day we get a phone call from someone that says, man, you know, my filter got dirty in like 2 hours. And it's like, well, yeah, it did its job. But people don't realize that their fuel system is the dirtiest when it's brand new. Fuel rails, we do a lot of fuel rails for about every application out there. GM, Ford, Chrysler, Mitsubishi, Subaru, a little bit of everything. All of our fuel rails are 6061 aluminum, and they're an extruded piece that we machine. Fuel pump sleeves, that's the fuel pump that started it all. That was the first electric fuel pump that would support 1,000 horsepower in a fuel injected application. We've had these pumps last as long as 150,000 street miles, as long as they're plumbed correctly, have the right filters in the right location that are clean. These pumps last forever. We do a rebuild process on these pumps for people, and it's always funny that we'll get a pump back that's 18 years old. We date stamp everything so we know when we produced it. And you know, people will call up and say, I got this pump, you know, I've had it for a long time, can you rebuild it? Yes, we can. And then we get it in and it's like, wow, it was built in 2004, you know. So it's a testament to the engineering that goes into our product. When I was talking earlier about A1000 electric motors, that's the electric motor that goes in the A1000. So you can see the technology of the brushless motor not only has upped our performance, but it's decreased the package size of the actual pump. It's kind of a mess around here right now. It's the week of Thanksgiving. We got a lot of product coming in and going back out. We basically receive all of our machine parts from 2 machine shops here in Kansas City, and we sort those parts and send them out for secondary processes, whether that's anodizing, whether that's lapping. So this is kind of our staging area, and like I said, business has been good, so there's a lot of inbound and outbound flow of parts. Our shipping department is buried down here also. So this is our shipping department. So as the assembly department finishes product, they'll bring it down, put it on the shelf. The shipping department will obviously pull it back off the shelf, get it staged, whether it's an order for a racer, an order for an end consumer, an order for one of our distributors like Summit or Jegs or Motor State Turn 14. These 3 people handle all of that. We have another building that I'll take you over to. Probably about 8 or 9 years ago, we decided that we were going to figure out how to put fuel pumps in gas tanks. As the LS swap market grew, we knew we had to come up with a viable way to provide a fuel injected pump in that application. We can always do it with an external pump. Bad thing about external pumps is they're loud, they're big, they create vacuum in the gas tank, which allows the fuel to boil at a much lower temperature than one that's not introduced into vacuum. So we had done business with a company that actually we bought tanks from them, and then we loaded all of our fuel injected pumps inside the tanks and sold them. And we had a pretty good partnership until they decided they wanted to start selling those tanks to everybody. So 3 years ago, we decided to basically re-engineer the way we did tanks, and we started sourcing tanks ourselves and then doing the fab work on them. And that's what's in the other building. So we'll wander over there and I'll show you what's going on in that building.